We're back for another week of Turf Talk. Vance, I think we all know what the talk of the turf is going to be over the next 18 days. Kentucky Derby.
Yes, American Pharoah just blitzed his rivals in the Arkansas Derby, probably ran himself into favoritism with such an easy score. Although his stablemate Dortmund, I still think is going to get a lot of notice in the next 2.5 weeks. And when you look at both horses on paper, they kind of have the same speed figures, speed ratings, whichever ones you want to use, Bruce. Right. And so I think the wagering on these two is going to be pretty tight. And then, of course, all of this is going to depend on how these two guys train up in the next 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, and I would say if they end up being the bread and the post sandwich 1 or 20 or even 2 or 19, that could affect it.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, without knowing those, I definitely agree American Pharoah is most likely to be the favorite. I just think with Victor Espinoza up and him being champion and Baffert supposedly, you know, behind the scenes murmurs preferring him even over Dortmund, tips the scales in his favor a little bit. But without question, you know, if everyone is only talking about Dortmund and then American Pharoah draws the rail or whatever, then I would expect Dortmund to be the favorite. The one thing I will say is, you know, going in before American Pharoah ran, everyone's top three was American Pharoah, Dortmund, and Carpe Diem, and it definitely seems like now we're down to 2.
Yes, absolutely. And going back to the talk about Victor Espinoza, of course, a 2-time Derby winner and 2-time Preakness winner as well with Cal Chrome and
War Emblem.
War Emblem.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Illinois Derby winner.
Absolutely. But also don't let's not underestimate Martin Garcia. Here was a jockey, a young rider who rode Looking at Lucky back in 2010, just within a first year or two of his riding, and he took the Preakness Stakes with Looking at Lucky. He didn't have a great trip in the Derby, but this kid knows how to ride big races, and however big the race might be, he just enters it with a quiet confidence.
Yeah, I agree, and Baffert has shared that confidence, which I think is really important. And one thing, you know, in this century, we've seen the Derby field balloon in terms of its average. You know, they try to get 20 every year, and even when 20 don't start, we're 18 or 19. And for me, that for whatever reason, with more horses, seems to have helped the first-timers. Stuart Elliott and John Service, Michael Matz, you know, guys that never won before, even been to the Derby. Once they're there, don't seem to have a problem getting their horse ready. Now, obviously, that's not an issue with the top two here, but something to keep in mind as you try to, you know, fill out the exotics and stuff. You don't necessarily need to gravitate toward those who have won it before.
Exactly. Yeah, and there's going to be some new blood in this Derby, as there always is, and so it's just good to keep an open mind when you're filling out your exotics, whether, you know, exact a trifecta.
Sure, and we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that Vance has a little extra bankroll to fill out his exotics this year. For those who read the twinspires.com/blog, they know you were all over the Grand National, which I did not watch live, but what was it like watching, 39 horses?
It was 39 horses,
yeah.
And the race took about 9-10 minutes to complete. But it was nice. It was like my second Grand National score in the last 4 years or whatever. I on the blog, I mentioned 4 horses to follow, and I said, of course, you can't throw out a 17-horse mutual field either.
Right.
So I bet a little bit of win money on my 4 selections, did an exacta box, and it turned out really well.
Good. All right. Well, like I told you before we came on air, we're going to get you going for the Saratoga steeplechase racing. So have a few months to prepare for that. Most importantly, though, 18 days to prepare for your Kentucky Derby bets. We'll certainly be talking about it over the next couple weeks, so we'll talk to you then.